Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking Games with Kellie and Andrew. I'm Andrew.
I'm Kellie, and I'm making sure that I'm recording because I know that I press record, but in my old age,
Is that why you spoke while I was saying the hello, everyone?
Yes. So in my old age, I've noticed that I have to say things aloud to myself, or I will forget. So every time I do my hair, I use a heat appliance, like a curling iron or a straightener. For all you gamers out there who've never done your hair, those things make your hair look different. So they're hot and they're electric. So now that I'm old, if I don't say to myself as I'm unplugging it, I'm unplugging the hair straightener, I will literally forget. And this past weekend, we had to turn around and drive back home because I thought I forgot. Audience, I did not forget. I did unplug it. It was a big waste of time.
That's so much worse.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's good that you didn't leave it plugged in, but
I almost thought about lying to my husband and saying, "Oh yeah, it was totally plugged in and turned on," but I didn't. I was truthful. That was part of my vows. So.
And then it made you look a fool.
Yeah, I looked quite foolish, but that's nothing new for me.
If it makes you feel any better, today's episode's going to make you not look like a fool in comparison to some of these stories. We have a rough one ahead of us, folks.
Yeah, I'm sure people can assume based on news that has been circulating on social media this week, but it's kind of a heavy episode, a lot going on. A lot of layoffs, a lot of closing. Like our first story. So Take-Two has shut down Roll 7 and Intercept. Roll 7 made Ollie Ollie and Rollerdrome, and Intercept is known for Kerbal Space Program. And they're laying off part of Private Division, which is the publisher. So
Rollerdrome was really well received. I know it's just a bottom line thing. But it makes me really upset to see good independent talent being absolutely thrown away for no reason.
Yeah, I feel like this is sort of going to be the trend for this week's episode, is like, it doesn't matter. It feels very futile at this point. Just because it doesn't matter how well your game is received. It doesn't matter how well you're doing. It seems like these places are just getting the axe because it's easier to cut the cost. But I think this type of thing is really going to come back and bite these studios really hard. I think, and I don't know, we don't have to get into it, but gaming has become like really unsustainable. AAA games take a long time to make now, more so than they ever have, just because of the technological tasking. And when you shut down these like indie studios and these AA studios, and you are no longer producing games that take less time and resources to create, I think it's just going to turn into this pattern where we have these huge games that take a long time to make, and there's going to be loss of interest. And, I think that to add to that, some of the biggest games now that exist are games that just have been existing and just get updated, like Fortnite and stuff like that. So it's just a troubling trend, and it's really unfortunate for these people. There's only so much that you can say that we haven't already said. So it's just really
and I think
a bummer.
I'll just go ahead and jump into the next story because I think things that I have to say are pertinent with this story. Microsoft, Xbox, without warning, I mean, I guess there's never warning, but I would say unexpectedly, in my eyes, shut down Arcane Austin, who was the developer of Prey, and they made Dishonored, correct? Or was that Arcane Leon?
I think that was Arcane Leon.
Well, they made Prey. Very critically acclaimed game, and then more recently they made Redfall, which was not critically acclaimed, and then Tango Gameworks, who made extremely acclaimed, multiple award-winning Hi-Fi Rush just last year. Both of them have been completely shut down. The sheer numbers of layoffs is not clear. It seems that a number of people will be shifted around inside Xbox, so they'll be moved to other teams, but there will be a lot of layoffs regardless. There's also Alpha Dog Games, which is a much smaller studio, but they work on mobile games, and Roundhouse Studios will be absorbed into the Elder Scrolls Online team, so their studio will shut down as well. First of all, Tango Gameworks is the only Japanese developer under Xbox's belt, and they just blew them up. That's bad. 2, these livelihoods are done. 3, I don't know why I'm numbering this. I'm just thinking out loud, but it's like these games. I feel like Hi-Fi Rush especially is like the definition of a AA game. It is sustainable because it is lower budget, lower time investment because it is smaller, and it was extremely well received. The sales numbers are not extremely public, but an Xbox executive posted like a year ago, a while after release, that they were extremely happy with the sales results. So this simply must be like a decision to be only keeping around the absolute highest profit studios, and probably to make up for some of the losses that they have from acquiring Activision, which cost them $1 billion, $80 billion, $1 billion, cost them what, $80 something billion. It just makes me sick to my stomach, truly, that, and I'm not parsing words, it makes me sick to my stomach that it seems like a pretty direct correlation between the unnecessary acquisition of a major publisher that was functioning on its own completely and the response being to shut down smaller studios that were creating really creative products. And I know Redfall was a dud, but here's an idea. Maybe don't make your immersive sim single player developer work on a live service game that they have no experience doing. Maybe that was Xbox's fault, maybe. Or Bethesda. I guess that one had been started before Xbox got in there, but you know what Xbox could have done has been like, you know what? Let's not do it that way after they bought it.
Yeah. Just a lot of mismanagement and confusion and a complete and total lack of foresight. I don't know. You said your thoughts echo my own, but it's just like, it's so frustrating. It is so frustrating that people, the common public, the people who are talking about this, everyone is saying this is a mistake. This mistake is going to create more mistakes. And still it persists. It just keeps going and keeps going. It's like, it's so exhausting. And every week to have to talk about this and keep bringing it up. It's like, when will it end? It never ends. And this is what I'm saying. It's becoming an unsustainable industry. It's becoming something that you can't get into and you get cut out from too easily. So I don't really, I don't know. It's really disappointing. I don't know.
It's just such a huge loss, you know?
These
studios are, layoffs hurt, but studio shutdowns are just a pure loss, you know? That team has been destroyed. Their IP are realistically going to die. Like, we're never going to see an Evil Within 3. We're never going to see a Hi-Fi Rush 2. Mm-hmm. We're never going to see a new Prey. Those things are dead. They have been killed in an instant. And those are games that didn't have to cost crazy quantities of money. Like, not every game needs to bring in 10 times its budget to be justified.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change at this phase. And to get on Phil Spencer's case, I feel like there's a few options here, a few possibilities, because he hasn't spoken about this. This happened days ago, and he said nothing. One, he was lying because very recently he was on that podcast, and he noted specifically Hi-Fi Rush being put multi-platform was so that it could fund more games from that studio. So when he lied was he unaware of the fact that the studio is going to get closed down, which means what's he doing? How stupid is he that he is oblivious to this happening? Or two, he is simply lying to the fan base in order to sell more copies. Both. One is diabolical. The other is incredibly ignorant.
And embarrassing.
And it's really embarrassing, you know? And he got what he deserved. His Fallout 76 camp was nuked. I don't even know what that means. I've never played Fallout 76, but can you really just blow up somebody's stuff for fun?
I think what happens is that if enough players like get the nukes and they go, because I'm pretty sure Fallout 76 is like each server. I think it's actually a very friendly community. And I think there has to be like a concerted effort to blow up a place together. So I think that's what happened. I've never played Fallout 76, but that's what I've gathered from what I've seen on Twitter.
I chuckled.
I chortled.
I'll say that. Wow, you got a full chortle.
I chortled hard. I sure did. I'll give you an example of my chortle.
Okay, I'm ready. Wow, so you saw a tweet that said Phil Spencer's been nuked, and you did that.
I did, yeah. I did.
Can I end this on a very slight optimistic hope?
Sure.
And I say slight because it's less optimism and more a lack of pessimism. A lot of people are talking about who's next, who's Xbox going to shut down next, because internally everybody's like, yeah, it's not done. My hope is that shutdowns will not be nearly as common. Because like other studios, like let's just say Ninja Theory, who's about to release Hellblade, or Obsidian, who's about to release Avowed, not Forspoken. Always get those mixed up for no reason.
They're both purple.
Exactly, it's the purple thing. But those studios probably would make sense in this same logical vein, but because they are not a subsidiary of a larger acquisition, I think it's less likely. The thing about losing Tango and losing Arcane is that they are both children of Bethesda. So they shut those studios down, but Bethesda is still there. They bought Ninja Theory outright. They are just, it's Xbox to Ninja Theory is the through line. There's no in between. And same thing with Obsidian. So my hope is that those studios remain safe, because that is simply, if those were shut down, it would literally be, we bought this thing, we shut it down. Because Ninja Theory would have released one game. They would have released Hellblade 2, and that's it. And then they'd be shut down. And Obsidian is a few more, but not a crate. Well, I think they got acquired after they released, or at least after they signed contracts on Outer Worlds, because that game was on every platform. So Obsidian's only exclusive Xbox game is the one that came out last year, the old-timey 2D... Pentiment, right? Yeah.
Is that exclusive?
Yeah. Well, it was.
Oh, okay.
It is now multi-plat, but it was an Xbox launch game. So like these studios have not shown a ton and soon to be Avowed, but these studios have not done a ton of stuff since they've been acquired. So if they get shut down, which is still possible, but I don't think it's as likely. Layoffs are not impossible, which is still terrible, but I think the studios that are probably, have a right to be more scared are ones that are subsidiaries. So like id Software, which would be crazy, but it's not impossible at this point. Or like, well, I guess I was about to say some Activision ones, and then I realized like Toys for Bob already got killed. A bunch of those studios died.
Yeah. I guess my fear is like the games that are on the horizon for like Hellblade 2, like surely it was quite expensive to make. Will it make the money back? I don't know. And Obsidian, and like
it's on Game Pass, so probably not.
Yeah, and like Avowed, I don't know. So my worry is that these games maybe will not perform to their high standards, their impossible standards, and maybe that will not be good. But I hope not. And I'm sorry, I just took a big old dumpy on your optimism. I feel really bad. I shouldn't have said that. Oh,
I didn't know what you're talking about. Dumpy. No, it's good to stay realistic, and
I hope not.
My optimism is, oh, I hope people only get laid off. Like, that's not positive.
Right.
It's just I'm hoping the worst doesn't happen. But we are currently on the path to the worst.
Yeah, it sucks. It really sucks. I was looking forward to Outer Worlds 2. Not going to talk like it's not happening anymore, but I'm not I'm not anticipating it as much as I was.
No, anything that Microsoft owns, I have, because they've also been fumbling things that shouldn't have needed to be fumbled. Like Redfall was a waste of Arcane Austin's talent.
Yeah.
Starfield was, and I know that was Bethesda as well. But like, there's just so many flubs, and I'm also scared for like, what if Hellblade 2 doesn't receive the same critical acclaim? What if Avowed comes out and it's bad? What if that new Indiana Jones comes out and it's bad?
But it's like you can't even bank on critical acclaim anymore. It just is sales.
No.
That's all they care about.
I mean, yeah, because Hi-Fi Rush was a critical darling across the board and won a bunch of game awards, and it doesn't matter.
Well,
I don't know. I'm really scared. As somebody who doesn't really care about my Xbox specifically, I'm scared for the future of it for creative reasons, because they own a lot of amazing IP and they manage a lot of incredibly talented people. Losing those people, losing that talent, and losing those ideas, that's, I think, the real fear I have.
Yeah.
I don't care if my Xbox becomes useless. I just don't want those studios to all die out.
Yeah. Excuse me. Have you ever played a game called Helldivers 2?
No, and you know I haven't, so now I look a fool.
Sorry.
You set me up to look stupid.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let me turn it around. Hey, Kelly, have you ever played a game called Helldivers 2?
No.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought.
Well, I have something to tell you about Helldivers 2. Maybe you've heard. There was a lot of controversy like a week ago because Sony pretty much said, if you want to play this game on Steam, you have to link your PlayStation account. Your PlayStation Network account on Steam, on your computer, by the way. Or your Steam Deck, by the way. So a bunch of people couldn't do that because they can't have PlayStation accounts. And everything happened very quickly. The game was review bombed on Steam, which basically means that everybody, well, you guys know what review bombing is. Everybody goes and they say, this is awful. Why is this happening? So when you bring the game up on the store, it says reviews are overwhelmingly negative, which is kind of crazy. And they have since walked back. Hello. They have since walked back this decision. So no longer will you have to link your PlayStation account to your Steam to play Helldivers 2. Just very weird things going on. Like, I feel like people making these decisions are not smart.
I mean,
what?
Literally, like, it's not like people were like, oh, I don't want to do that. There are literally 177 countries in the world that don't have PlayStation Network access. You cannot get a PlayStation Network account, meaning there were people that had like hundreds of hours in the game that all of a sudden were told, no play. You don't get to play anymore.
Yeah. It's nonsensical.
So I feel most bad for the studio because like PlayStation is clearly the one that made this decision. It wasn't the studio. And now a bunch of the good faith that the studio built out the window. And like, I know that people, like, you can't undo review bombing.
Yeah.
So it now has mixed reviews instead of overwhelmingly positive. And that's going to take like years to undo.
I know.
Probably because
I understand.
Like, probably years, literally.
I understand conceptually, like, review bombing. I understand why it feels like the only way people get their voices heard, but to me, I just don't think it's appropriate. I don't know. I feel like in cases like this, where it's something that's obviously has nothing to do with the game, I feel like people maybe don't understand the implications. Like, I think about, like, Cyberpunk, it was like, reviews were like overwhelmingly negative when it first came out, and it took like years and years and years to build that game back up, and they're still like, I mean, they're positive now, but they only became positive like in the last couple months, which is crazy because it's like that game's been good for like 2-3 years, but because of all the backlash. It's just one of those things, you know. I mean, obviously that's a different case because the game itself was hard to play for a lot of people. Not
Yeah, I was
me.
gonna say I feel like the thing that hurts about this is that it didn't like the game hasn't changed. It was just a couple days where it became inaccessible to a large number of people,
Yeah.
and there's a permanent mark on the reviews because like Cyberpunk deserved what it got because it was broken for most people, or
But
at least broken enough that people felt
yeah.
a lot of people's feelings were valid. But this is like a literal couple day long because it was only a couple days before everybody was allowed back in,
Yeah.
and it did irreparable damage.
Yeah.
So, speaking of irreparable damage, well, maybe reparable damage. Maybe that's the point of the story here. Square Enix, who you may know as the people who make Foam Stars,
That's a great bit.
the creators of Final Fantasy have announced to their stockholders and therefore us, because me and Kelly are huge stockholders. I have millions in Square, don't you?
Yeah.
They have revised their strategy approach. Their strategy is, I didn't need to say approach after that word, to PC and console game development, and taken a $141 million content abandonment loss. This is sort of an unprecedented thing to just say outright, but they have abandoned several projects, unannounced projects, I should say, and in the process, they're losing $141 million, presumably just in development costs of those games thus far, and they're going to focus on more reliable income streams, which from an American company sounds terrifying, from a Japanese company a little less so, because I hope that means they're going to put more on their big titles that they know people like, put money into their Final Fantasies, into their Kingdom Heartses, into their, I guess that's the big Dragon Quest. Okay, I was trying to think. I was like, there's one more I'm missing here. For me, my biggest fear in this, because there is a logic to this that I understand fully. They released Avengers. They released Babylon's Fall. They released Foam Stars. They have been missing pretty hard on the live service train. Square Enix has not succeeded in live service. They've tried several times in very expensive ways, and they've even failed in some of their single-player endeavors, namely Forspoken, which is just kind of like a misunderstanding of industry trends and player interests. My fear lies in those mid-market AA games. I love Octopath Traveler. I loved the 2D HD Team games, Triangle Strategy, Octopath Traveler. I'm very much looking forward to the Dragon Quest III remake from them. I think they release a lot of other medium tier games that are interesting and deserve to exist, and they don't sell incredibly well, but they get love. They're clearly games that people like, and they sell a couple million, which isn't incredible, but that should be enough, I think, to justify some of those games. I just fear for those games specifically because, I think about Octopath 2, which I just checked has over 1 million units sold, but that was almost a year ago, so hopefully it's more than that. Potentially over 3 million. The numbers are not entirely clear, but to me, that's great. That's because that game is not this massive, huge. It's not Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. It didn't cost many, many, many millions of dollars. It probably cost a couple $1 million or something. And the game is exceptional and really taps into a lot of good things. I don't want those games to be lost. I love Final Fantasy. I'm pumped for Kingdom Hearts 4. I'm really excited to see what Dragon Quest 12 holds. I don't want that to be it from Square Enix, though, especially with the role they've been on lately, barring those live service blunders.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you are more familiar with the situation than me. I think it's interesting that they just told us all this. And I think it shows a little bit of promise that they're pivoting, whatever that means. But I don't know. It's hard to say with stuff like this because it's you don't really know what any of this means. You don't know what was canceled. You don't know what the focus is going to turn to. More remakes,
And
probably.
let's turn this into a positive. If this was Xbox or PlayStation or Activision or EA, this would be a massive layoff
Yes.
situation. This is not layoffs.
Yeah.
This is project cancellations, which I'm sure hurts for those teams. They're probably like, oh, I worked hard. But they have their jobs. They're just being moved around to more logical places for them, which, today specifically is good news that these people are fine. Like, I'm after seeing some of the stuff that some of these Western studios are doing, I am thankful that this does not mean a cull of a bunch of people who work there. It's just a change in the flow, if you will.
Yeah. A change in the flow. A change in the flow. Like changing the flow from developing a multiplayer game to no longer developing that game.
Yeah, I guess that's a flow change. You're right.
That's a bit of a flow change. Much like Remedy has canceled its multiplayer project, which was called Kestrel. This has been canceled. I guess they were pretty early on in their development process, and they said, you know what, let's just focus on what we've already got, which is like what, Control and Alan Wake.
Yeah, and Max Payne remake, but that's being done in tandem with, that's not in-house.
Yeah, so I think that it's good that they're cutting it off before it gets too out of control. I don't know. I don't have any particular strong feelings about this. I don't think that we need any more multiplayer games, so I'm not like,
I think it's really good that a esteemed single-player developer is not pivoting to a live service model, because we have seen how that ends.
Yeah.
Bad. It ends bad.
Yeah.
And also, this is the same vein. No layoffs. So
yeah,
it sucks for people losing some work. That does hurt a little bit. But realistically, I feel like game developers right now, if they're told, hey, your project's canceled, and then they're told immediately after, but you still have a job, they're probably like, whoa, cool, because they see what the rest of the industry is doing. Mm-hmm. So, is Remedy owned by Tencent?
Yes.
I forgot about that. It's weird that Tencent was the absolute focus of our show for like 9 months.
I know.
A couple years ago. And at least they're not pulling Embracer and murdering everything that they bought. So, but I'm happy about that news, because I genuinely think that's a good news. Like, game cancellation should never be good, but in this case, I'm like, good, please.
Mm-hmm.
Focus on what matters, which is single player games. That's what you're good at. Not to say multiplayer games can't be good, just saying thank you for focusing on that, because that's what they're good at. Well, Kelly, we have unexpected news. At least, okay, the news is not unexpected. The format for which we received said news for the first time in an official capacity is hilarious to me. So we saw a tweet. We got a tweet from Nintendo. I'm just going to read it to you. Is that okay, Kelly?
Yes.
This is for Rikawa, president of Nintendo. He's copying Miyamoto with that one. I love starting a tweet with your name. We will make an announcement about the successor to Nintendo Switch within the fiscal year. It will have been over 9 years since we announced the existence of Nintendo Switch back in March 2015. There you go.
There it is.
Switch 2, he was asked, and he did call it a Switch-type console, which that sounds like, oh, that's a given. But like with Nintendo, you never know if they're going to go somewhere. Like, they'll be like, oh, the Switch successor is a Wii U 2. Like, with them, you never know. So they did confirm it is a Switch 2. They didn't say any names, but like it is a next Switch console specifically. This fiscal year means between now and end of March of 2025. So they gave themselves plenty of room to get this thing out. I think it's entirely possible they follow the exact same structure as the Switch 1, meaning announce it very late this year and then wait till after the holiday to show off titles and stuff. And then still they could launch it early next year if they wanted to. Because that's what the Switch 1 was announced in October 2016. And then they basically went radio silent so that hopefully some Wii U's would sell that Christmas, which they didn't because they were Wii U's. And then in January, they had like a gigantic event to be like, here's all the games, here's the release date, here's everything you need to know for specifics. But I imagine it's also probably going to be a lot easier to explain this console because if it's the same kind of thing, like the Switch 1 reveal trailer, we're like, whoa, you take the controller, oh, you put it on the TV, you take it off the TV, oh. But like now that's a given. So it's probably going to be a lot easier to explain. They might just wait till January.
Yes.
But there we go. We have a Switch 2.
Yes.
Are you excited by this shocking revelation?
Sure.
Did you like the format of the announcement?
Yes. Yes. I love finding out information on twitter.com. And this was the best way to find out this information. Very casual, very straightforward. Sometimes that's all you need. I don't need Jeff Keighley up on stage doing a little jig for me. Sometimes you just need a big fat tweet.
From Furukawa.
Exactly.
This is Furukawa.
Exactly. This is how I'm going to deliver the news to you when I tell you that we're going to Super Nintendo World in Florida in 2025. Because
we are?
No, I just made that up.
Oh, what the frick.
But
I'm so excited.
The news itself is not made up because at Universal in Orlando, Florida, they are opening a Super Nintendo World in 2025. Yippee! Now here's me who thought this already was there. So
no, it's in California.
Oopsie. But this is kind of exciting. Florida to me is more accessible than California.
Uh-huh.
Like, as in, it doesn't
bigger.
cost like $600 to fly out to Florida, like it does with California. So yeah, there'll be standard Super Nintendo World stuff, Mario, Donkey Kong, all that jazz that exists in California and Japan.
Well, the thing that I like, because the Donkey Kong World isn't open anywhere else yet, so that means it'll open like in tandem, I guess.
I see.
So, like, Florida won't have that weird in between where they only have Mario but no Donkey Kong.
I see.
I kind of want to go, but like the thought of going to Orlando to go to a theme park,
it's going to be
kind of
crazy.
terrible to me.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. So I'm probably not going to go. Maybe ever.
And you know what else is in Florida? Alligators. So.
Oh, well, they might have some Yoshis down there.
The Yoshis down there will eat you.
You just see like a Yoshi in a swamp and you're like, Mom, it's a Yoshi. And she's like, no, Florida Yoshis are dangerous.
Yeah.
And he comes running at you way faster than you expect a Yoshi to run. Yoshi's actually pretty quick, but alligators are also quick.
Alligators are quick to a point.
I'm sure Yoshi's faster.
Yeah, I bet Yoshi
He's
could
Yoshi.
outrun an alligator.
Yoshi's speedy.
That's true.
So how about we close out this Nintendo train for the day? I'm realizing my own faults because I organized this poorly because this next story was actually just the second half of that tweet that I chose not to read earlier. After they mentioned the Switch 2, they said that they'll be holding a Nintendo Direct this June regarding Nintendo Switch software lineup for the latter half of 2024, but please be aware that there will be no mention of Switch successor during that presentation. Makes sense to me.
Interesting.
Because right now they have nothing after Luigi's Mansion.
If I could just
in
get
June.
a little bit of Fire Emblem, that would be great.
I'm really curious what they could have, because this means games that are coming only to Switch 1. And, in my brain, I'm like, oh, Fire Emblem, they're waiting for Switch 2, right? They're going to launch, maybe they'll launch year, they'll have one on Switch 2.
I think they can pump out Fire Emblems like you wouldn't believe. I think we might get a remake.
Maybe a remake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a recent remake, like a game that is hard to play now because
Three
of,
houses.
of the Nintendo. Oh, you're right. If I got to see more Claude, that'd be fine with me. That would be fine with me.
I do wonder. I feel like they have to have some. They probably don't have a lot because the first half of this year has been scant, shall we say. I mean, it was just Peach and Paper Mario and Luigi's Mansion 2, but like that's 2 remakes and Princess Peach,
Yeah.
which was a very, very small game. So
Maybe
I don't have the greatest expectations for this, but it's nice to know that it's coming.
maybe they'll do like since it's hard to play the like the Ike Fire Emblem games, maybe they'll do like a Path of Radiance or Radiant Dawn remake or something. That'd be kind of cool.
The only thing I'd put any amount of money on in this direct would probably be a Twilight Princess Wind Waker situation, because I think that's an easy holiday sell, and those are already made.
Easy
So all they
for
have to
me.
do is port them up.
I'd buy those.
And then we very specifically talked about those because I'm hoping they'd be a bundle for $60 instead of 50 or 60 each. But
That's really altruistic of you. That's very
it's so funny
optimistic
right
of you.
now because like Nintendo annoys me, but I'm like, in comparison to their competitors right now, I'm like, Nintendo is great because like they do just make games and they let games be made and they don't lay people off. So right now, Nintendo can kind of do some annoying things, and I'm gonna give them a light pass. And I shouldn't just because their competitors are evil, but the fact that Xbox and PlayStation are just like walking around with a shotgun to all their studios to be like, "Oh, you're gonna survive today," and Nintendo's just like, "Yeah, we'll make Kirby games that don't sell well, but they're Kirby. Who doesn't like them?"
Corby.
So,
Exactly.
but that's also we're finally kind of getting an idea of what our summer video game events are gonna look like.
That's right.
So
That's
it's
right.
coming up on us quick. It's only about a month away.
That's right. And Xbox is also having their summer showcase on Sunday, June 9th.
I love Xbox, and they do nothing wrong.
Right. I have no predictions. Except for maybe Starfield DLC.
Probably. And I mean, they have so many things in the tank that they really like. They ought to be showing Avowed and Indiana Jones, but like,
Oh yeah, they're probably not going to show Indiana Jones because didn't they just show that like a big thing for that? Like
I
a
mean, both
month
of those
ago, not
got
even?
they both got it in February. And if they're both coming out this holiday. I think they have to be in that June showcase.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be extensive though. I think it'll be like, at the end when they're like a big summary of all the stuff that they've got coming up. I think we'll see it then. But I don't think we'll get like a trailer.
I bet we'll get like 10 minutes of Indiana Jones, like an annoying amount.
Oh, you're right. I think you're right now because they always show something for too long that you don't care about.
And I think it'll, because that's their big game. I think that's going to be the game that they're really banking on.
Yeah.
The thing is for me is like, I don't want to be excited for this because I'm really mad at Xbox specifically. However, Xbox showcases quite regularly do bring in a lot of interesting third-party content, which has nothing to do with them. And I am able to, like last year we got Persona 3 Reload in an Xbox showcase, and it's like,
That's
yeah, it's on
right.
Game Pass, but they didn't do that. And I think it's okay, even though I'm mad at Xbox and hate them, to enjoy the video games that are in there. Like, we're probably going to see a Metaphor trailer because that's coming to Game Pass.
Was it?
Hmm?
Wasn't it the first trailer? Wasn't it at the Game Awards?
No, it was Summer Games Fest, and you were really sad, and then the Xbox
Right.
leaked.
When
Yeah,
is
we
Summer
watched Summer
Games
Games.
Fest this year? The 7th?
Yeah,
Friday?
it's Friday, and then I think this is always Friday and Sunday now. I think because Xbox is always Sunday, but I thought Summer Games Fest used to be Thursdays.
Yes, it definitely did because I remember having to work the
But-
next day.
Yeah, but it'll be Friday this year, so I guess he learned something. I don't know. I'm curious to see what's there. It's 1 p.m. on a Sunday, which means I'll probably be awake. I guess I should wake up for this. That's only a month away. Oh my goodness.
That's pretty crazy. Maybe we'll see Dragon Age there.
Okay.
You don't think so?
If we're gonna see Dragon Age, I feel like Jeff is a lot more likely than Xbox. because I feel like Xbox tends in their summer showcases to show games that they're putting on Game Pass. And I don't think that they'd be able to do that. Because the majority of the games they showed last summer were Game Pass launch titles.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
I'd be real surprised if Dragon Age was on that. Dragon Age was on
Well,
there.
maybe we'll have already seen Dragon Age by that point.
You got some. You realize that's like a few weeks away, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Hey.
I'll hope for you.
Here's what I'm saying. There was a whole report from EA that they have an owned IP that is coming out in the next fiscal year.
Right. I know. I don't doubt that Dragon Age is not far away. I'm genuinely expecting to see it at the Jeffies.
Which would be
for a
which would be
release.
before the Xbox showcase.
Right, but they wouldn't show it 2 days in a row, I don't think.
No, I'm just saying maybe we'll have already seen it by that point.
Oh, I thought you meant pre-Jeffy, and I was
No,
like,
no.
that seems silly.
No.
I'm like, I feel like if they're going to announce it this close to the Jeffies, just save it for the Jeffies.
Yeah,
to
I
get
think
those extra eyes.
it'll be there.
Like, I don't think we're going to get many or any announcements between now and June 7th, because it's like, this is when they're just like, okay, if we're going to announce something, let's just wait and put it in the Summer Games Fest.
Yeah.
Which we should probably have our predictions for soon, I realize. I mean, the week before, but I'm just thinking out loud. My producer brain is going off. Kelly, do you like movies?
No. What's the next story?
Reportedly, Kingdom Hearts is getting a movie. Very little information about this, just that it is in early production at Disney. No word on if it's animated or live action.
You know, there are some Kingdom Hearts movies that exist already. If you log
Like
into
all
your
of-
Disney Plus account
And watch every Disney movie.
and watch a good, you know what Disney movie you should really start with is Mulan. Incredible movie, incredible score.
It's not in Kingdom Hearts 1 though. I thought you were going to be really clever and like recommend the movies in order as they appear in Kingdom Hearts, but then you started with Mulan, which is like halfway through Kingdom Hearts 2. So
Hold on, let me think. The first
the
one,
Kingdom Hearts 1 ones?
I guess the first one in Kingdom Hearts 1 would be like what? Twilight Town. Or no, Traverse Town, which
Traverse Town, yeah. But that's
doesn't
not,
really, but 101 Dalmatians you encounter pretty early in that game.
I mean, yeah, they're in Traverse Town.
So maybe that one, and then where do you go after that? Don't tell me.
You can go, okay. There's two opening worlds you can pick from.
Yeah, right. I'm on the gummy ship right now.
Okay. You turning left or right?
Left.
Okay, what's to the left?
I don't. Hercules.
Oh, that's to the right.
Damn it!
To the left. To the left.
Don't tell me.
Oh, do you want a hint?
No. Yes.
All right, well, I guess you'll have to turn left and chase a rabbit, perhaps?
Oh, Alice in Wonderland.
Uh-huh. What's after that? Just think about the circle. So you go left,
I'm on the
and you
gummy
go to Alice
ship.
in Wonderland, you go right. You go right, you go to Hercules, and then at the end you go to a third world.
I'm on the gummy ship right now. Jungle Book.
Wrong! There's no Jungle Book in Kingdom Hearts.
Wait. I haven't played the first one since I was a child.
Bill Collins.
Oh, Tarzan. Oh my god,
Tarzan.
yes.
Okay, we're gonna stop this game because I could do the entirety of every game because I am literally seeing these maps.
I'm more familiar. I'm more
Vividly.
familiar with the second game. So like Little Mermaid and Lion King.
Little
and
Mermaid is in first game.
Mulan. It's in the second one too.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And then Halloween Town is in the first and second.
Yes. Is Zach
And in a sense,
fair in the first game or the second game?
he's
Because
in
he's in
neither of them.
Hercules, right? Yeah, he is.
He's in Birth by Sleep.
Oh my god. Well,
Kingdom Hearts 2 Hercules features Auron from Final Fantasy X.
well, now we know who the real Kingdom Hearts head is on this podcast. As if you guys,
Did we
didn't know
not?
before.
Did we not know that? Yeah. Anyway, there's a Kingdom Hearts movie reportedly in development. I think this could be cool if Nomura's involved and if it's animated. But I think those two things are extremely plausibly not going to happen.
Right.
A live action movie that's just like Disney treating itself very nicely, shall I say, to keep the E tag off. it's just going to be annoying if it's just like a live action Sora running around and being like, look at all these Disney worlds. And I'm like, I don't need a commercial for Disney Plus. I'm literally watching this on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah. This
But
seems like a little bit odd.
I think the part of Kingdom Hearts that makes it fun is like you're exploring these worlds and playing them. And it's also so long that you can include lots of worlds. If it's a movie, I don't know how they'll do like the world hopping thing. Because what are you going to spend 5 minutes in like the Alice in Wonderland world? Like that's not interesting, is it? That's just like an Easter egg at that point. It's not actually content. So I don't know how they would make a movie.
A bunny Easter egg?
Huh. Funny.
Because Easter is...
Oh, a holiday.
Right.
And Sora celebrates holidays.
And
he gets PTO from his job.
actually, Sora is he's a Jehovah's Witness. So he doesn't celebrate any holidays.
Would you say that Cloud is a Jehovah's Witness?
I would say Sephiroth is a Jehovah's Witness.
He's a Jehovah's baby. He said, Mommy?
Hey, don't say that.
Why?
Zip it. Because it's
Why?
a spoiler.
If that listen.
Yeah. You better cut that out.
I'm not gonna, because it makes so little sense if you don't know. And if you know, it's not I don't care.
Hey, you know what else is a spoiler?
Kelly dies at the end.
Did you know Knuckles is an echidna?
Oh.
Did you
My
know that?
God, I can't believe you'd say that on the air.
Hey, did you
Now,
know?
I have to edit that one out. We're gonna have audience members emailing us,
That's right.
furious that you would ruin that for them.
That's right. Did you know that his series on Paramount Plus has been the most viewed on the platform? Which,
I do now.
not to detract from the accomplishments of our friend Knuckles,
Our friend.
but when was the last time you watched something specifically because it was on Paramount Plus and there was nowhere else to watch it other than Knuckles?
Knuckles is the first television show I've watched on Paramount Plus, besides 15 minutes of Halo.
Right. So that's all I'm
But
gonna say.
isn't this the place that Yellowstone premieres?
That's true, but I'm going to tell you something right now. The people watching Yellowstone are watching it on network television, if you know
Oh,
what
I always
mean.
forget it's on TV first. Or like it's also on TV, I mean.
Yes. So I think that show is being watched by an audience that prefers to watch things on TV rather than streaming, if you get what I'm saying.
I do get what you're saying.
Speaking as someone who was raised by Yellowstone watchers.
Me too. Well, not at the time. I mean, Yellowstone didn't exist when we were raised.
Isn't it crazy how every parent watches Yellowstone?
Yeah, you have a kid, and then you're just required to watch Yellowstone. Like,
And then they're...
Kelly, I hope you don't have a kid anytime soon, because I don't think you're ready to watch Yellowstone.
I'm not. But my
Okay.
parents think I am.
Watching Yellowstone?
No, they... but
The
they're
day
always...
that you come home and you say, have you guys seen the new episode of Yellowstone? They'll be like, oh!
I know. I feel like I'm a failure of a daughter because they always say that we have to watch it and then we don't.
Oh. I will tell you one thing. I have watched some of it, and I hope my parents aren't listening right now.
No,
It is-
don't say it. You're going to upset them.
It's
Nope.
so...
Nope.
It was rough, man.
No.
It was rough.
Don't say it. Say it ain't
Oh,
so.
it was...
I don't want to hear
It
it.
was rough to watch.
Which one did you watch? Because there's like 4 now.
I think the original. I don't know what season.
They should make a Yellowstone video game.
They probably are in the
Wait.
works. No, that's not true. I don't think the audience that watches Yellowstone would buy a video game. They probably have mobile games, though.
Don't say
Look up Yellowstone mobile game while I talk about my thing.
Talk about
Kelly,
your thing.
Knuckles, the Echidna, the TV show.
Yeah, I know him.
I watched it.
Yeah, I know him. And we are married. Did you
I
like
feel like
it?
I'm going to have to call the husband of the show and have a discussion about your potential second marriage to a large red echidna. I guess he's kind of a small... He's a very large echidna, but he's small for a person.
He's not a person.
No, but like he's short.
He
but
has
he's
no
also really
rights.
tall. So Knuckles the Echidna What is the actual show called? It's called Knuckles.
It's just called
Yeah, but
Knuckles.
I thought it had like, it's like Knuckles, a Sonic series or something.
Oh.
Anyway, I watched it. It's 6 episodes. It's being listed as a special event, which I think is just their weird way of saying there's not going to be a second season because it takes place between between Sonic 2 and Sonic 3, the movies. If you're going into this expecting like cool plot developments that will be pertinent to Sonic 3, do not do that. I will just tell you straight up, this is a silly little side adventure with no real lore implications. The only thing that it made me like not gasp but be like, oh wow, was a reference to Sonic 06. I was like, wow, okay, I guess we can acknowledge that. Sure.
What was the reference?
Iblis was in it.
Oh.
The big scary stone golem.
Right.
But like very briefly, and it wasn't like CG, it was like a puppet, which is kind of cute.
Oh.
But it was fine. There's a whole puppet episode. It was kind of... Anyway, it was fine. I like Sonic 1 quite a bit. I love Sonic 2. I thought it was extremely cute. This show relies a lot more on humor, which it's not amazing at. It's not like unfunny, but it's not funny. I think Idris Elba did a fine job as Knuckles, and some of his lines are kind of cute. There's a whole episode where he learns about Jewish culture. It's cute, and I thought it was very silly because it's silly to watch a large red echidna voiced by Idris Elba learn about Jewish people and ask questions about them. But it's kind of harmless. The worst part about for me is that Paramount Plus has ads on it. I think you could pay not to have them, but I'm not going to ask my parents to get rid of their ads for me to watch 6 episodes of Knuckles. And I saw a lot of children's ads, like for toys and candy. And I was like, oh my God, is this what I used to see?
Any Floam ads?
No, I'm afraid not.
Oh my God. What happened to us? We used to be a nation.
There was this ad for this like fruit by the foot, but it's sour. And I've had one of those from like the store, but it's like just rolled up. But now it comes in like this plastic shell with teeth.
Oh.
So you can like pull out a piece and then clop it and then eat that piece.
Oh, I don't like
and I'm like, there's so much plastic being wasted for this candy. Why does it not just come in a tiny bag and then you just eat it as you see fit? Why do you have to have a giant plastic shell? Anyway,
yeah, that's a good point.
Knuckles, the echidna.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. I think the ending kind of sucked because it like Wade, who's like the stupid cop from the movies, is the secondary character. Him and Knuckles go on a road trip, and the plot kind of falls back on his story more than Knuckles. And I think it was kind of a missed opportunity because I think a series that like showed Knuckles and the echidnas and like Angel Island and all this interesting stuff from the games could have been really cool and a really interesting thing and still be appealing to children, because this feels like it's appealing to children way more than the movies even do. Like the movies feel like they're made for like Sonic fans and adults and children. This feels like it's made for children first, and then there's some tiny bits in there to keep the parents a little bit entertained. And as a parent of a young orange man, I was not hugely amused. What?
Oh, I see. Got it. That sentence took me a second to process.
My cat. I'm his father, so he was watching the show with me. Of course, I would never watch it without my child.
Right.
That'd be embarrassing to watch this as an adult alone. It's not good. It's not great. I would not recommend this show very highly unless you're a giant fan of the movies and you want some more. I think it's fine. It is harmless. I chortled very lightly, like maybe 3 or 4 times in the 3-hour television show. That's not a lot. It's like once an hour.
That's the chortle to time ratio is not acceptable.
The CTT is
the CBT. The CTT.
The
C
KCTT, the Knuckles chortle to time ratio.
The Knuckles.
The KCTT.
KE.
Knuckles. KECTT. Knuckles the echidna. Chortle to time ratio. Oh, sorry. KEC.
Yeah.
Oh no. KESSCTT, which is the Knuckles the Echidna, a Sonic series,
The
chortle to time ratio.
Exactly.
So
That's what I said first.
So the final, not anagram. What's it called? Acronym.
Bananagram.
The final
Have you ever
acronym.
played Banana?
Okay. Anyway, it's not great. I don't recommend it.
Oh.
It's fine. If you have Paramount Plus and you really like Sonic, it's good. Do not get a Paramount Plus subscription for this. That would be bad.
You should spend money. You should spend more
Kelly
money.
has not seen this show.
I'm just kidding. Don't spend money on Paramount Plus. I'm paying for a subscription to Paramount Plus. I cannot talk.
For what?
I don't know. I bought it like 3 years ago to watch Love Island.
Delete it.
I forgot.
Get rid of it right now. Like the second we stop recording, go delete your subscription.
No, my parents use it to watch
Yellowstone. That's really funny.
Oh.
Well, you should recommend Knuckles the Echidna to them and see. Just be like, guys, I really loved this series and you'll love it.
Yeah.
And then see what they say.
Yeah, they might really enjoy it.
Hey, it's better than Yellowstone, so they might like it.
Well, okay.
Anyway, that's Knuckles. It was fine. I don't regret watching it. It was harmless, and I thought like there were parts that were cute. I did genuinely like the episode where he was home for Shabbat, and like he was just learning about Jewish culture, and it was kind of sweet. And he just like it's nice to humanize him because the whole thing is like he's a stupid alien in the show. He doesn't understand human social stuff, so him kind of learning was kind of sweet. But and like there's a bunch of people in the show. Like Carrie Elwes is in it. What's his name? Christopher Lloyd is in it. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess that's it. That's the big names. Idris Elba, but he's Knuckles, so that makes sense. Sonic and Tails are in it for like 3 full seconds, which is nice. James Marsden is very specifically not in this show. It was like very noticeable that he was not in the show in the first episode when it was at his house and he was not present at any point. And then his wife, just like after like 30 minutes, is like, why do you have to be on a business trip right now? I'm like, he's a cop. What?
He's going to the cop convention in
Cop
Boston.
Con. And if that's the case, why is the other cop in the show not on
Copathon
at that convention? He's at Copathon, yeah.
Copathon at Copathon in Boston, Massachusetts.
Kelly, did you play any games? I'm done talking about this.
I actually, speaking of Boston, did I talk about Fallout 4 last week?
Yeah.
Well, I re-downloaded it for my PC because I can't play with controller anymore. It doesn't work in my hands anymore.
That's what you said last week. You were like, I can't, this is so hard.
So I re-downloaded it on PC. And now I'm further in than I was on PlayStation. So all that next-gen stuff doesn't even really matter to me anymore because I don't even play. The only thing that it added really to PC was the ultra-wide feature, which I don't use. And I heard it was bad anyway. So, but I'm having fun. Pretty much had to play through all the same quests that I just played through, but it's fine because I had a good time. And the nice thing about Fallout 4 is you can kind of do things differently a little bit until you get to the end. But that's okay because I'm not at the end yet. I'm also rediscovering a lot of things about myself. Sorry. So when I first got the game, like back in 2015, me and my good friend Andrew walked to the exchange and bought them together. I had not a care in the world for the settlement system. I didn't care about that, which is interesting because I really like The Sims, and you think that the micromanagement part of my brain that tells me that Sims is fun would also like the settlement building, but I didn't like it back then. But now, as a grown woman, I don't even know, like 9 years later, I am really enjoying the settlement building. I don't know if it's because the PC interface is like more intuitive.
Didn't it get patched a bunch too?
Well, I think the other thing that is really nice is that because I have the PC version, it's like the Game of the Year version, which that game never won Game of the Year. But anyway, it has all the DLC in it. So that includes all of the settlement stuff that you get from the DLCs. So I just have more options now, which is nice. But yeah, I'm enjoying, like the micromanagement. I'm enjoying telling my companions that they need to cook dinner for me. That I need them to work the stalls, the Brahmin stalls. I really enjoy, so they added like Do you know what a oh, what's it called? They're like gymnastics things. They're
Balance
called
beam?
no, they're kind of like balance beams. What are they called? They're like a pony, something pony. But you can tell your companions to go on them, and they'll start just doing like crazy flips and stuff. And like, whoa!
That's so silly.
And it's really silly because it's like I'll have like Nick Valentine. For those who don't know, he is a synthetic man, so he's kind of a robot, but he's also kind of a person. But he's an old guy. And sometimes they do it without me telling them to. They'll just get on that thing and they'll start going to town, like just doing all sorts of flips and acrobatics. And it's like, wow. And they like to do it at the same time as other people. So I have 2 of those, and then I have 2 weight benches, and I have a big barn, which is my gym. And I'll go and like everybody will be doing crazy acrobatics, and I'll be like, what's going on, you guys? I just got here. What's happening? What's the 411? So I'm having a lot of fun with Fallout 4, to answer your question that you didn't ask.
That's a good review.
Hey.
I don't want to out you on the podcast, but I'm going to do it right now. Are you going to play Little Kitty Big City on Game Pass?
Oh, yeah.
That comes out today.
Yes.
Came out today.
Yes.
Well, now you have to tune in next week, audience, so that you can hear her review of Little Kitty Big City.
Yes, I will absolutely play that.
I probably won't because...
Wow, because you hate cats. Cat phobic. Feline phobic.
How dare you? Stop saying that. Vanna's going to come in and start screaming again. No, as like a little preview for next week, I'm going to play hopefully all of, but if not a chunk of, 2 games for you guys for next week. That being Slay the Princess, which is a PC darling adventure game of sorts. It's more text. It's not text-based. It's like a visual novel. That's the word. It's a decision-based visual novel. And then I'm also going to play brand new release Animal Well, which is a Metroidvania that just dropped today from Donkey's new studio. Well, Donkey published. He didn't make the game. And that is on PlayStation Plus, so I'll be playing that as well. It is getting rave reviews. So apparently we'll have some exciting stuff for you guys next week. But this week is this week. Do you want to know what I played?
So insightful. This week is this week. If you even care.
I finished Half-Life 2 Episode 2. I don't remember where I was last episode, but Half-Life 2 is basically a 3-game thing where it's Half-Life 2 and then Half-Life 2 Episode 1 and then Half-Life 2 Episode 2. But it's more like Half-Life 3 and 4, but 3 and 4 are short. And then Half-Life 2 Episode 3 was supposed to come out, but never did, which sucks because Half-Life 2 Episode 2 was kind of good. Same exact vibe as what I've said for Half-Life 2. It aged a little bit, but it's very interesting to see where the history of this game lies. It's such an influential game. And I think the story really started to take off with Episode 2, which sucks because it ended in a way where it's like, oh, come back next episode. And I'm like, well, that was 2007. So I don't think you're going to do that.
Yeah.
But it does mean that I am now prepped to play Half-Life Alyx. So I'll be playing that in the near future, which is a prequel. So it's not going to tell me what happens after this. But hey, I'm still very excited to play that one. So I'll be playing that in the near future.
In the Nier Automata future?
Speaking of Nier Automata, I finished Stellar Blade.
Wow.
Which I said last week I probably wouldn't have very many adjusted thoughts, which is correct. It's exactly what I was saying last week. It's kind of like a Nier Automata clone of sorts. It's very well made in a lot of ways. The sexualization is bad. The story is kind of uninteresting. Visuals are incredible. Some of the late game boss fights did have some really, really good music. Like there was one against like a pretty plot important character, and I was like, oh my god, is the plot getting good? And I'm like, no, that's just the music. Because I was like starting to feel like swells of emotion, and I'm like, this is just a really powerful song. And having like really incredible music paired with a boss fight like that just feels amazing. So Stellar Blade, I do recommend it if you really like that kind of game. If you really love the gameplay part of Nier Automata, it's worth looking into. But if you're there for the story, don't worry about this game. And then I also finished, well, I started and finished, Penny's Big Breakaway. This is by this team that made Sonic Mania, and now they made a 3D platformer starring Penny, who has a little yo-yo, well, big yo-yo, I guess, she can use to do some platforming tricks. I think this game is a really interesting game. It's actually it was published by Private Division, who, layoffs we talked about earlier. But I think that the game needed more time in the oven because there are a lot of things that are unpolished. There were times where I fell through the floor. There are times where platforms did not have the boundaries that I expected. And there were times that my movements didn't quite work. But when the movement is working how you expect, it feels so amazing to string movement combos together because you have a few different options. When you're in the air, you can do a second little hop, or you can throw your yo-yo out and then dive into it, or you can hold the yo-yo and then swing off of it. And whenever you release, that determines like where your momentum takes you. So if you release while you're launching forward, you go forward really, really fast. But if you launch when you're high up, you'll go really high into the air. So it's kind of like this interesting trade-off. And when you're in a flow, it feels amazing. Some of the levels were really incredibly designed, and it made me feel amazing while I was moving through it. Just expect for momentum to slow down sometimes, because some of the late levels I didn't think were incredibly well designed. They didn't feel amazing to play through. And they also didn't complement the movement styles very much. Like there were times where jumps just were like precise to a point where I'm like, okay, this character is not for precise movement. She's for fast momentum-based movement. And some of the late game levels, especially with the inconsistent boundaries that I was talking about, made it really frustrating. Like there was like these little platforms on lakes of lava, or rivers of lava, I should say. And I would land right on the edge of it. And like, it was very clear, like my shadow was on there, but because I was near the lava, I would say I missed and it would do some damage. And I'm like, that's extremely frustrating because when I fell into it, it would set me back and I'd have to redo all of it, not just take a little bit of damage. So and there's also a lot of collectibles in this game. It's level based, but there's a ton of collectibles. So if it's a game that you're really interested in, it only took me about 4 hours to finish. But if you want to get everything, it's probably going to take you closer to like 15. So there's a lot here if you're interested. But if you do just want like a fast-paced 3D platform with some interesting mechanics, this is a way to go. I think that the story and the characters are very forgettable. And some of the visual design is like a little boring, but it's all pleasant. I will forget a lot of it. Like I will forget all of the music. I will forget all of the characters, and I will forget kind of the visual style, but I think I'll remember the way that the gameplay feels for quite a while because they clearly had something really inspired here. And it does make me hope that 3D Sonic maybe takes some notes because there's some really cool stuff that they could use on that series, which I have a feeling that's kind of what this, I wouldn't be surprised if this game was pitched to Sega as a Sonic game and Sega said no. So they said, okay, we're going to go make our own game then.
Yes.
So, but that's what I played this week.
Wow. I couldn't play anything else this week because the doctors found worms in my brain.
Oh, you too?
Yeah.
Well, are you going to run for president?
Yeah, I already am.
I think the worms may have ate the part of your brain that distinguishes between fiction and reality.
I think they ate that a long time ago.
You were talking about Dragon Age getting announced soon, so clearly.
You're gonna eat your words so hard. Andrew.
Just like you ate that worm.
I ate that worm. I just broke my fidget cube. You guys.
Oh no, not your fidget cube.
We have to end the episode.
I mean, we were about to anyway, but I feel like that's an omen. That's some force coming in and saying stop.
It was saying stop talking about your brain worms. Anyway, thank you guys so much for listening this week. I hope you have a really awesome day, week, month, year. We'll see you next week, and I'll talk about Little Kitty Big City.
Little Kitty Big City.
Little Kitty Big City. And the brainworms that are currently gnawing on me. Anyway, bye.